Welcome to the Black Woman Going For It podcast with your host, Exandria Wow. So, I have a special guest with me today, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and I'm excited for this conversation today. She is a prison relationship coach, teaching women with incarcerated husbands to live successful, happy lives, helping them to get clear on what they want, preparing them for the post-incarceration phase of the relationship. Let me introduce to you Tameka Means, aka Fit Prison Wife.
Woo! Thank you, Exandria. I'm so excited to be here. And just like you said, yes, I am a prison relationship coach. And I know people are probably like, what? Who? What does she do?
Yes.
Most people, when I say this or I tell them what I do, they're like, I've never heard of that. I didn't know that was a thing. And I'm like, you're right, it's not.
I definitely thought that same thing. So I'm like, I've never heard of a coach like this, and I know it's needed.
Oh, for sure. There are roughly 2.2 million people currently in the United States alone who are incarcerated. And that number, as I speak it, probably has already increased as to date, unfortunately. And I say in the States here, in America, we are the incarceration machine of the world. We incarcerate more people than other countries combined. Like, we are the capital of incarceration on the entire planet. So, Exandria, when you say yes, it's needed, you are 102,000% correct.
Thank
you.
It is needed. Could you expand a little bit more about that? And excuse my dog in the background.
It's cool.
Could you tell us a little bit more about your journey to be saying you wanted to be a prison relationship coach? Like, what is that? What do you help women do? What brought that about for you to knowing you needed to do that and provide this service? Because it definitely is needed.
It's interesting the way you phrased that question. In my head, I never said I wanted to be a prison relationship coach. I don't want to have to be here.
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to have to do this, but as we said earlier, I feel like there's definitely a need. But the fact that I feel as though I need to do this, that it's sad on its own, but we're here and this is what it is. And I feel as though, I was the person to feel the shoes and trying to make something happen. And it kind of fell in my lap, unfortunately, because, when I was pregnant with my second son, this journey for me is when it started. So this was back in 2014. I had a 2-year-old son at the time, and I was 5 months pregnant. My husband actually left out the house to return a game to GameStop. And, my husband's very prompt as far as calling if he's running late or texting me. And, I was like,
where you at?
okay, let me text him. And I get any response. And, after a few of those and calls, I'm like, what's happening over here? Sorry. Of course, that was not my mom. I can laugh and joke about it now, but, back then, so long story short, that evening turned into, it was 5 o'clock and it turned into 7. You start worrying when you don't hear, and 11 o'clock rolls around, you call in the hospitals, you call in police stations, you call in family, and nobody knows where he's at. And I can honestly say that evening was one of the most terrifying nights of my life, because I literally thought that my husband was dead in an alleyway here in Baltimore City. We're known for crime, unfortunately. And, I called the police to my house to fill out a missing persons report. So that was the start. Like, that feeling, oh God, like I wouldn't wish that feeling on nobody. And, from there, it went to a place of, I finally found out the next day that he had been arrested. And, yeah, that started my journey as what people will call me as a prison wife, right?
Yeah.
And, I went from this happy, bubbly person to overnight just becoming a single mom with my life in chaos and not knowing what to do, scared about my unborn child because I was under so much pressure and under so much stress,
Mm-hmm.
And I know nothing about the justice system. What do I do? Like, I never anticipated being in that situation. Yeah, it just went literally in a moment's time, my whole life changed. So that is what led me to really to where I'm at today. And along that journey, I had many days of just sleepless nights, nighttime anxiety, grief. It's definitely a grieving process, Exandria. And many
Mm-hmm.
times people don't really think of grief as, they don't really think about grief in terms of non-death related
Yep.
circumstances. And that is what I was, struggling with. And I was depressed and I felt stuck. I wasn't achieving my goals. I had a whole list. And probably the worst of all was I just was not a good mother. Mm-mm. If I had to look back on how I was taking my frustration out on my children and getting frustrated just because they were hungry, like, who does that? I mean, it was rough, girl. I could go on and on with a sob story here, but I eventually got to a place where it clicked for me, like, girl, get your life together. Like, I saw my son one day and he was standing by the bathroom door, and I'm like, why is he looking like the world is on his shoulders?
Wow.
And I'm like, it happened so fast, like in the less than like the speed of a thought, whatever how fast it is. It clicked for me that I am the reason why he is struggling in school and his behavior is not where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
That energy that I'm putting out to the world is it's manifesting in him. That was the moment that my life changed. Now, nothing actually changed, but that was the moment where I had the thought that it was time for me to make a change. And yeah, from there, I started pursuing every single goal that I had thought about. Competitions, fitness competitions, and like traveling internationally, putting my children in a private school, I just was just like not only pursuing my goals, but I was smashing my goals. Like, I was unstoppable. Like unstoppable. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. Well, I mean, not at first, but not in a conceited way.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like the level of success that I was having just by changing my mindset, changing how I thought. That success I had during my lowest point in life was what really led me to becoming a coach. And I know I've ran my mouth for probably a good 10 minutes straight, so I'm gonna shut up.
No, you are fine. I'm enjoying it. So you say, by the way, I was stalking your YouTube and I saw your trophies from one stream that you did live from your fitness. I don't know what you would call that.
Those were figure competitions.
Okay, yes, yeah.
So it's similar to like, it's between bikini and bodybuilding.
Okay. Congrats on those trophies.
Thank you.
And changing your mindset. When you say you change your mindset, and from seeing your son looking like the weight of the world was on him, what is the first step that you took to shift your mindset?
Ooh, the very first thing I did was I actually changed my radio station.
Oh.
That was literally the first thing I did. So I'm in Baltimore and I changed it to 95.1 Shine FM, which is like a contemporary Christian channel in the area. And I changed it to that because I wanted to change my environment. So it no longer served me to listen to music that wasn't filling my soul or spirit or mental or emotional well-being with messages that weren't leading me to where I wanted to be. So on this channel, they spoke nothing but positivity in the music and in the people who spoke. You know, it was all uplifting music and spoke of hope. And so that was part of me changing my environment. And changing my environment also meant people, places, things. If you weren't moving in a direction or already where I wanted to be, then you served no purpose in my life. Or not no purpose, but I should say that you were going to the back burner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the very first thing I did. And then I'm trying to think after that. Oh, I spent a lot of my, not a lot, I would say almost 100% of my free time. And I can't even say free time because any type of what I call idle time.
Okay.
Idle time is anything I consider like, say, washing dishes, driving, right? So I spent 100% of my idle time listening to motivational YouTube videos, YouTube University, yep, right?
Me too.
YouTube University, man. I was a full-fledged student, you know, gosh, you know, Mel Robbins, Mel Gibson, not Mel Gibson, Lord Jesus. Les Brown,
I love him.
Tony Robbins, E.T., you name it. No, I'm kidding. God, it could have been Joyce Meyer one day. Whatever showed up after, when you start listening to this stuff, that YouTube will start suggesting things. So
yep,
if the title was like, this looks good, then let me click on that. And I just literally all day is all I did. All day. So imagine doing that for a year straight, just listening to just how to change your mindset. Now as I'm saying it, it's almost kind of mind-boggling. I never bought a single thing. I just literally just listened and listened. And it's like, and books, I started listening to books on YouTube. For those of you who don't realize, there's books on YouTube. Yes.
I did not know.
There's books on YouTube. Yes. A lot of bestseller books. So yeah, I spent my time filling my brain with just where I was trying to be. The greats. I was trying to figure out how the greats were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I learned something along the way.
I love that because I never heard anyone say that the first step was changing your radio, like what you were listening to, changing it to contemporary gospel, looking up YouTube videos. So thank you for sharing that tip. Mm-hmm. And then I want to get more into you being the prison relationship coach. And you do the post-incarceration coach too, right?
Yes, that is more, right now I am more in the prison relationship, as in if their spouse is still incarcerated. Okay. Actually, one of my next goals. So I still post, like right now I will support and post and talk about the post-incarceration phase of the relationship. Okay. My goal coming up this year though, is to have an official coaching program for that. So my coaching program that currently exists is for people who are currently in a relationship where one partner is incarcerated. So stay tuned. I will be doing that. Yes. But my husband's been home for a year and a half. So we, and my husband included, we will get on every Monday, talk about different topics about prison and also, what is it like to be in a prison impacted relationship? I'm sorry, what was your question?
No, okay. So now that I know what you want to focus on, I was watching your latest YouTube video and I was wondering if you can expand more. You said to connect more, knowing how to connect without being physical. Could you expand? Because I thought that was just so good because I don't know, that's hard. My husband's not incarcerated, but how do you connect with your spouse without it being physical?
Well, I mean, let's see. One of the best things, and this is a lot of times what I will teach, that, when my husband did go away, oftentimes is a sad event, right? And you have to change your perspective on what that means for your relationship. So for me, I would tell myself, this is an opportunity for me to grow a deeper relationship with my husband, because you can't physically touch. So now that connection that you're developing is more on a mental or an emotional level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all we have is a phone right now, right? All we have is our words. So that connection is coming from understanding someone on a deeper level, talking and asking questions that have you understanding what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them sad. What does he want out of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find, especially, with new couples, oftentimes, they're asking surface level questions, and we have to really understand, what are their viewpoints on, religion or marriage or anything. Do you like to keep the toilet seat up? No.
That's important though.
I'm kidding. But really using the time to understand them. What are their core values, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's important to them? What's not important to them? What is going to frustrate them? And really what's happening is by you understanding more about them, you're developing that deeper connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the great things about developing deeper connection is you really truly get to see why they do the things they do. And this is extremely important. When you understand why somebody why you understand why someone does what they do and why they move a certain way, you can have more empathy, right?
Yeah.
You need empathy in your relationship to, as I say, you kind of can put out fires before they happen. Because if I'm being empathetic with you because, well, she's got fake flowers in the background, because I don't know if they're fake or not. I'm just saying.
They are.
Maybe I hate fake flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of holding it against you, well, it was probably convenient for her because she's so busy. She's got 3 dogs and 5 children. She doesn't have time to water flowers. So, okay, I'm not going to put my hate of fake flowers onto her. I understand that for her, that's what she needs. So therefore she buys fake flowers, right?
Yep.
So I just made the whole thing up, but
it makes sense.
Me having empathy, me having a greater understanding, which derived from developing a deeper connection, helps us to have a healthier relationship. So, and that's what you're doing. So you got to change your perspective. And I say mindset because, you have to change your perspective on the whole situation first before you can even get there, right?
Mm.
Your whole thought process, your belief system, and how you feel about the relationship in the end, which changes or transpires into you acting differently. You're changing your actions. I'm not going to yell at you for having fake flowers because I now know that it works for you because you're busy and it's convenient, right? So that's important.
And when you say perspective, what's a perspective that you would say is a perspective of a person or a wife of a husband that's incarcerated that she shouldn't have or shouldn't focus on all the time?
A perspective from the wife's perspective or the person from at home?
Yes.
And you said what's a perspective they should have, or what's a typical perspective?
They shouldn't have.
They shouldn't have.
Yes.
Oh, let me go with the big one. The one I preach on. There's a misconception with some, not all, that you cannot enjoy your life and you cannot be happy and smile because your spouse is incarcerated. I think they can't enjoy life. They cannot create new experiences, right? They think, and it's rightly so, because when they're not there, you're sad and you don't have the urge to want to create new experiences because it's just not the same. It's not the same when they're not there. When Christmas hits, there's no excitement because he's not there. There's no excitement to travel and go to new places because he's not there to enjoy it with you physically. Which is normal at first, but there comes a time, and there's no timeline on this, but there should come a time where you start, transcending and understanding that you still have to continue living your life while you support your loved one, right? We can't feel guilty about it. Can't feel guilty about living. It can feel like a mental prison sometimes for most people, and they start losing themselves. But, we have to have the perspective that in order to show up as our best for our incarcerated loved one, we must be our best. In order for us to be our best, we must continue living or striving to be at our highest potential, continue to keep living and showing up for ourselves, not just for him or her. All right.
I like that you said that. I had a friend that had a significant other that was in prison, and I'm like, you want to go on the trip? Oh no. But then when she went on the trip, the calls would come. I'm like, hey, we got this plan. You need to enjoy life. That man is not going to be mad at you. But I need
Oh,
to
yes, he will. Oh, yes, he will. Girl, what you talking about? See, and this is like, and you bring up an awesome point, because this is exactly why my program is needed, because for someone like yourself who's never experienced being in a prison relationship, you don't understand what it's like to be in a prison relationship and the pressure and constraints that come along with it. So
that's true.
Women in my position need to have somebody in their corner who is supporting them, who understands. No, it is okay. In a grand world, things, no, it's not really appropriate to not answer the phone call, but sometimes you just need to not answer the phone call. You know what I'm saying? Like, but coming from you, I wouldn't receive it, because you don't understand what I'm going through, because I would never not answer the phone call on purpose unless there was a valid reason for me not to. And no, he would not. Most men probably would not understand that. You would have to talk them through that. So it's a balance. You have to have some balance in your life. But this shows you why it's important for spouses who are supporting someone who's incarcerated to have people in their circle who understand what that feels like. You know, yes, we're always probably on the phone. If you don't have a phone nearby, you ain't a prison wife. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, and all prison wives are hurdlers. You know, we know how to sprint. We have extra long arms to reach behind the car seat when the phone rings. When that phone ring, and you gotta have one hand on the steering wheel, and you're like, let me get the phone fell behind the seat.
That sounds like my friend, man.
we sprinters, we jump, we hurdle, and the phone stays right here on a hip, they don't get too far. You transcend it when they come home and you don't know where your phone is. So, but yeah, definitely important to have people in your corner who understand what you're going through.
And where could, I saw that you had a Facebook group. Is that a community that they could go to too? Are there other communities you would recommend as well?
Yeah, so my personal group, I actually have one called Positive Productive Prison Community. This group is not like the typical prison wife group though. This group is actually for anyone who is within the prison community. So prison wives, people who are supporting and I say prison wives, but of course there's women or wives who are incarcerated and there's husbands at home, but I just use that term generally. It's for anyone who's formerly incarcerated, anyone who is supporting prison policies, anyone who's advocating for someone in prison, or a son, daughter, mother, wife, whatever. If you're in the community, the group is for you. The purpose of the community is to bring together prison service providers, whether it's nonprofit organizations or paid organizations. If they service anyone in the prison community, like myself, or they're in re-entry, or they do things like providing tampons for women's prisons, whatever, I want them to come to the group, talk about what they do so that the community can access their programs. So typical prison wife communities out there are usually for just the spouse at home. But there's a lot of there are a lot of prison wife communities, and sometimes, especially on Facebook, some of them may serve like different purposes, as in, uplifting. Some of them are a little more gossipy. There's a couple that I like, definitely. And like Sheila Bruno, Wife After Prison. She's awesome. Very positive. Love it. So that is definitely one I definitely promote and say, hey, this is a good one. And then I also have a membership that I do, which is for women who are looking for more, contact as far as, building themselves up. So it involves like fitness, book club, and then also we do a support group. Also learn something new. It could be about, how do you become your best version of yourself, whatever the topic is that week. So I do a membership and we meet, a few times a week. But yeah, there's a lot of communities that you can find, and I would recommend that you join them, sift through the groups, and find one that benefits you, right? And there's a Virginia group, Fighting for Reform in Virginia. That's another one I like, right? There's another coach, Janice, who has a Facebook group, Wow. So it's as far as like groups that are focused on coaching positivity, there's not, slim. It's slim pickings. I mean, there's a lot of groups out there, but
Wow.
But I'm very picky. Me myself, because I don't have time for drama, right? So
there's a lot of positive Facebook groups that are like drama. So
yeah. But as far as coaching goes, this is kind of the reason why I got into this, because like I felt like there was next to no support, really. And if you think about the number of people who are incarcerated, and like I gave you 2 people?
Yeah.
Like my goal was really, like, my vision for my company is to really make coaching and programs accessible, convenient and accessible to prison families. So my ultimate goal is to have a fully fledged, federally funded program for prison families, right? WIC is for women, infants, and children. You automatically qualify if you are a low income individual who's having a baby or in postpartum, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a spouse, or say maybe a son that's incarcerated, you will automatically qualify for my program.
That'll be dope. I love that vision.
That is my vision. And yep, you move out of my way because I'm gonna run you over.
I really love that. And it should be available, because like you said, the number of incarceration is crazy that it isn't. It's just like, okay, I see, okay, you take our family away, but then you don't want to provide supports.
Prison I don't care is a about business.
Yeah, it is.
Prison is a business. Yep. Exactly. I mean, if you're going to incarcerate that many people, at the very least, show some kind of, smidgen. There you go. I mean, but it's an uphill battle. And, gosh, I mean, I'm only one person. I'm not saying that my impact can't be massive, but if everyone shows up as an individual, collectively, we can do great things, because we are fighting a machine. We're fighting a machine that incarcerates at a greater level brown and Black people.
Yep.
Right. So the outcome is even the what's the word I'm looking for?
Is it risk?
But the need is even greater in the brown communities, right? The need is that much greater. And we could be here all day talking about how
that's a lot.
This has so many levels from slavery. Yeah. I mean, we were talking about years, generations of imprisonment. Generations of the states were born, our economy was born off of slavery, right?
Yep.
Slavery has just transcended to prisons. That's all. So you are fighting an entire system, right? So it just changes. Maybe in the future people won't be in prisons, but they'll be shackled in their homes virtually. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I feel like prisons won't, I don't know if prisons will be around I don't know how long they'll be around, but right. I feel like enslavement doesn't go away. It just looks different. It'll just look different in the future. That's all. Like, just like slavery died, I do believe prisons I don't know how long it will take, but prisons will eventually die, but it'll just look different.
Yeah, different than what it is.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So do you follow like the metaverse and how there's going to be virtual worlds at all?
I hear about it. I don't follow it though.
Well, actually, so it's going to be virtual worlds. Do you think they're going to have prisons in virtual worlds?
Yes, they'll find a way. I believe they'll find a way.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
I believe that they will find a way to do that.
It's so sad.
Yes, hopefully I won't be around. Hope.
But your children are going to be around.
And they can deal with it and they can fight on.
Oh, you're terrible. That's terrible. Yeah, fight for the grandbaby.
I'm fighting now. They're going to have to continue with, hopefully they won't. But yeah, I let them deal with that part of it.
Yeah, man. So
how do you feel like your journey within this or just in general has shaped you into who you are today?
Ooh, it has shaped a lot of me. I've always been a fighter. I've always persevered. I've always landed on my feet. But this has just taken it to a whole different level, honestly. You know, I thought I achieved before my husband went to prison. But, you know, as I describe it, him going to prison was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. Because, you know, I have developed a level of perseverance, a level of faith that was just, that is, you know, I would say for the most part, unshakable. You know, the scariest thing to me right now is succeeding in business. You know, because, you know, it for me, it's like, it's an area that I'm so passionate about, but I'm still learning about business in general. I have the passion to help and know what I want to do, but the actual business part or business side of it is scary to me. But, you know, my faith has grown so much, and I feel like for the most part, I'm unshakable. You know, I look at things differently. I try to find, I do. I find the perspective that is beneficial. And, you know, I don't believe there's never not a solution to anything. And I understand that I can pretty much conquer anything as long as my why is strong enough. You know, you may have the same goal year in and year out, but it's not until you're compelled, have a strong, compelling reason to win that it actually happens. Right? Yeah. So let me tell you what I just did. I had the balls to sign up for this $15,000 coaching program, and like, love, you know.
Hey.
Okay, so we're going to up the ante, and we're going to have to get out in those streets and move the meter, because now I have a reason. There's a fire under me, right?
Congrats.
Thank you. But see, that's just an example. I would have never done that, ever have done something so spontaneous, not worried about the money before my husband went to prison. Before my husband went to prison, I would have never attempted at putting my children in a private school without having the money first, right? So I'm taking risk that I would have never done prior. The only difference is, like when I signed up for my Israel trip, I ain't got the money. I was probably a year and a half into my husband's prison sentence, and I was living below check to check. And I signed up for a trip to go to Israel. And they were going to take $200 or $300 out I think they were taking $200 out my check every 2 weeks, which is devastating when you living below check to check, let me tell you. But what this experience has taught me is that, you know, everything you want in life is right there. If you have a desire to do something, you may not know the solution to it, but it's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And that is the mindset that I have right now. So I joined this program, put my deposit down, girl. Now the money just going to have to come. Universe, work with me, right? You know, I've already declared I'm staying. Y'all ain't kicking me out the program. I'm talking about there was insufficient, right? My son's tuition bill for private school goes up every year. So yeah, we go, you know, I never lost my house when my husband was gone. When you put yourself in the position to win, you will win. That is the difference between Tameka version 1.2 and version 2.0. Right? We just gonna do it. When I signed up, girl, I didn't even know what time the meetings were gonna be. I just knew this is for me. I don't know. I should put that thing on PayPal credit. We're going to do this. Watch me work for a year and see what happens a year from now. Just jump off the bridge. That's what I do. I jump off bridges these days.
I love that.
I just have to find my parachute on the way down.
I love that. Unshakable.
But look, my vision is so big, girl. Like I am so passionate about what I'm doing that I'm almost 40. Like I want to make this happen. I want to see my vision to come to fruition. So I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to do it. For me,
it's to hear that, honestly. And it reminds me of you correct me if I'm getting rid of the scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
And taking the risk. And I needed to hear that for myself. And I'm sure some other women too, or who's ever listening to this. I want to ask you more questions, but I want to go respect your time.
I don't know what time it is. We can do a little more. Go ahead.
So you said with taking the risk, like the $15,000, the putting your son in the private school without even, knowing how you were going to pay for it. What is that feeling like? What does that look like? I'm not sure of the question.
What made you just do stuff like that?
Yeah, just do it. Because I'm honestly still like, okay, I have to have this saved up. I have to do this. I have to.
It's scary. Yeah. Okay, let me get something. Let me be clear about one thing. You never lose the fear, like that fear you have of doing something that seems impossible never goes away. So if that's what you're waiting for, it's never going to happen. What gets easier is you taking action faster. It's very I think the biggest decision I've made in the past couple of years was leaving my full-time job. When I left, I was making the most money I had in my time there, which is ironic because I told myself when I started working there that I was going to leave in 7 years. And you know what year it was?
What year?
Year 7. And I was making the most. I had busted through a ceiling of, I think I had a small ounce of self-sabotage in me that was holding me back. And when I worked through that, finally, it opened up a whole new financial spectrum for me. And I got more organized, but not purposely doing things. I can't tell you exactly what I was doing to sabotage myself, but I know in my heart that I wasn't moving in a way that I believed. But to answer your question, it's exhilarating to do that. And to know that I land on my feet every time it's you don't ever feel, I don't know, if I have the ceiling over the top of my head right now. Every time you take a risk, Exandria, it gets harder and harder. It doesn't get easier as far as the risk, meaning that bigger risks are ahead of you. When I made the decision to leave my full-time job, I had chest pain, I had anxiety, I think I cried. And that all that came from fear of paying my mortgage. I have 2 kids, right? I just had another baby, but I haven't lost the house. The lights is on, you know what I'm saying? When you will find a way to adapt on every single thing. If it's meant for you, if you feel that desire in your heart, I always say go for it. The difference is when you take bigger and bigger risks, the time between when you have that desire, when that desire first hits you, and the time between that and you actually taking a risk, that time frame gets shortened in my experience. Literally, it took me once I realized that program that I signed up for was for me, I was already in. I was like, all right, how do I put the deposit? I was logging in my bank accounts. I got 30 bank accounts. I'm like, move money here, go from here, that, make this work, sell that. And, I was just like, how am I going to make it work? But the universe will move in the way that you tell it to move.
Thank you.
That was good. Let that marinate. The universe will move the way you tell it to move. what you said earlier about that scarcity mindset, you will stay in scarcity, I believe. But if I say, universe, this program here is for me, it's going to help me generate funds for my business, it's going to help me make a great impact on the entire planet, I'm going to do it. Universe says, okay, Tameka, I hear you. So I'm going to make it happen for you.
Y'all run that back. If you listen to this, run it back and listen to it again. Because
I hope good. 1 year from now, I literally just signed up. So 1 year from now, oh my God, we should just replay this and say, oh, Tameka, remember when?
I'm going to follow up. I'm going to follow up too. And then one more question. What's one question that you wish I would have asked you? And then I'll have you answer it. Because sometimes I don't ask all the questions that guests want me to ask. So,
well, Alexandria, if you're asking me how I help prison wives or how they can reach out to me, I would surely answer that question.
How can prison wives reach out to you, Tameka? Where can they find you?
Well, if you are somebody who was in a prison impacted relationship and you are feeling depressed and you feel stuck right now, guess who can help you?
Tameka Means. I love it.
Yes. And, my goal, as Alexandria stated earlier, is to really get you to a point where you are loving your life. You do not have to live in sorrow for the rest of your life. And I want to help you get to the point where you can put your real smile on, not that fake mask you're hiding behind. I want you to show up in the world with a real smile and really get focused on what it is that you want out of life. So get you back to achieving your goals and have a life that you can be proud of. So your husband can be proud of you, your children can be proud of you, and you can feel accomplished. And at the same time, get you prepared for what life is going to be like in a prison relationship and preparing for him when he comes home, because it's unlike any other journey you've probably experienced. So if that is you, if you're looking for support and understanding from somebody who's been in your shoes, right? Mm-hmm. And is 100% invested in you succeeding, you can definitely reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram at Fit Prison Wife. You can reach me out, reach me there. You can go into my website. You can chat with me. prisonlovemindset.com is my website, right? I just got it up and running. So be patient with me though. I just put it up there. But prisonlovemindset.com. And you can also go on Facebook. Facebook, I have a page, Prison Love Mindset. That's my business page, right? You can call me 410-385-3338. And you can email me. I'm giving you all these. Look, you have no excuses. Come on now.
And email me in the description box below.
Yeah. hello@prisonlovemindset.com. You can remember that. hello@prisonlovemindset.com. Okay.
hello@prison
love mindset.com.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to it on a podcast platform.
And I gotta mention too, my husband. My husband is like one of the people that teaches me. My husband was incarcerated for a total of 16 years. So I get a lot of wealth of information from. So it's like a team. It's a team around here. You don't get just me, you get my husband.
Bonus.
You got a bonus coach. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So make sure you all be support Tameka Means. And if you need your prison wife, definitely she's the go-to coach. And listen, I'll have all the resources that she mentioned throughout this whole podcast down below. I'll try to find the Facebook groups too. No, actually I won't. I'll just put Tameka's Facebook group below so you all can specifically support her. Was there anything else, Tameka?
No, I mean, other than, I did fail to mention that I have or maybe I did. I do one-on-one coaching and group coaching.
Nope, you didn't.
I didn't. Okay. Mm-hmm. So look, I'm sure I might look back when it's like, Tameka, you forgot to say this. But yes, I have membership options and I have group coaching options and one-on-one coaching. So yes, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. And I want to thank you so much for being here. Once again, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being on my podcast and sharing all this information. Because like she said, you need someone who's been through it to help you get through it or teach you from her experience. Because like with my friend, I say get up off that phone, but it's a different experience because I don't know nothing about it. And
they can also come to my upcoming program, March 24th. If you guys DM me on IG Fit Prison Wife or go to my page, I got a program coming up on March 24th about communication in your relationship and intimacy. So hit me up.
You got a lot and I love it. Look, you guys send me everything. I'm gonna have it down below, y'all. And so I'm gonna end it off quoting Tameka. I saw it's like a TikTok reel, YouTube, they all doing the same thing. But you said there's never going to be a perfect time to accomplish your goals. Do it now, start today. And I just want to end it off on that. I love that quote. And this is your host, Exandria Wow. Thanks for tuning in to the Black Woman Going For It podcast. And you'll listen to us, see us, hear us next time. All right, you all. Bye.